Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Ask Huda. I am your host, Fuad Muhammad. As usual, we welcome our respected Islamic scholar, Dr. Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum, doctor, and welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you, Fuad. Jazakallahu khairan.
Okay, just before we take our first question, a quick reminder of our telephone numbers: 0022385555 or 249, or you can write to us at ask, that's ask@huda.tv. Okay, Dr. Muhammad, we still have some questions remaining from the Kalima seminar from Dubai. The first one goes: if I follow a particular school of thought with regards to my prayer, and I pray in an area which is dominated by the followers of a different school of thought, should I alter my prayer in order to suit them, or should I remain the way I pray?
Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala nabihi wa mustafah, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah, thumma amma ba'd. I begin by praising Allah the Almighty alone and sending the best peace and salutation upon His most beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Thumma amma ba'd. It sounds like people are still confused with regards to the different madhahib, different schools of thoughts, particularly when it comes to something that is very obvious, such as the prayer. It has been documented from the sound collections of ahadith how the Prophet ﷺ performed and offered his prayer exactly. Particularly when he said in one hadith, صَلُّوا كَمَا رَأَيْتُمُونِي أُصَلِّي. There are certain ibadat, acts of worship, which the Nabi ﷺ ordered us to follow because the sunnah was a practical tradition that he offered it in front of us. So not one or two or three or 5 or 500 of the companions have seen it. It is every person who happened to see the Prophet ﷺ got to see him while praying. Similarly in Hajj, he said, خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. Copy me with regards to the ceremonies of Hajj or Umrah, how to perform it. So it has been reported clearly how to. Yes, there are some differences between the scholars, particularly the founders of the 4 schools of thoughts of fiqh, with regards to their available evidences or understanding the available ahadith or references. For instance, I would choose one reference. With regards to the qunut. The qunut is different than the qunut. Qunut is making dua, particularly in the prayer. The Jumhur, the vast majority of the scholars, are of the view that yes, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam qanata, he made qunut, he made dua against the polytheists, against the wrongdoers and the oppressors, against some tribes who betrayed Muslim preachers, the teachers of the Quran, and killed 70 of them in Bi'r Ma'una, for instance. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam kept praying against them for so long, more than a month. Ukal wa Dhakawan wa Ra', etc. But how did he make qunut? He used to make the qunut or the dua in every single prayer. After the ruku', after rising up from the ruku' in the last rak'ah. So the scholars concluded the first. Whenever there is a crisis, a calamity, or a dilemma, or an effective cause to make qunut, either to lift a pain or a sorrow, or to give victory to the believers, or there is an effective cause.
Yes.
So in this case, it is recommended, but the Imam would have to do that in every prayer, not in selected prayers.
Okay.
Imam al-Shafi'i has a view based on a reference that the qunut should be in every Fajr prayer. This is not the best opinion. It's a weak opinion. So if an Imam is still following the opinion because he says, I'm a Shafi'i, I would advise him to say that we're all praying as the Prophet ﷺ used to pray, not as any particular person. And I quoted before when Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy on him, was asked, Ya Imam, if we produce or if we present, because we do not really produce, if we present you a sound hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, will you consider it and act upon it? He was very angry when he was asked this question. He said, أتراني ألبس زنارا? Do you see me wearing the outfit of the Christian priests? Do you see me sitting in a church? Do you see me wearing a cross? I am a Muslim who's following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. You people bear witness. If at any time I reject a hadith that is proven to be sound, then I have lost my mind.
Subhanallah.
This is a statement of Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. That's why when we filmed the program of the Prophet's prayer, we meant to produce something to ordinary people. How the Prophet ﷺ used to pray. This is it. So when we pray, we should not be prejudiced to any madhab. What if you pray behind an imam who is leading the prayer, and for instance, if he's Hanafi, he's placing his hands beneath his navel? I don't have to do the same if I keep my hands on the chest as the Prophet ﷺ used to do, and it is proven sound. Then my prayer is valid and his prayer is valid. And I can pray behind him, no problem. He is one of Ahlul Sunnah. And he's reading the Quran properly, and he's a scholar. So our prayer is valid, his and the followers. If the Imam who's Shafi'i raises his hands and starts making qunut only in Fajr prayer, we say this is not the right view. But based on his madhab, he thinks he should do that, so his prayer is valid. And me as a follower, I should follow the Imam, because this is a congregational practice. So I would raise my hands and I would say Ameen, and my prayer is valid as well. But in the individual practices, we say the Jumhur, in addition to a great number of the companions, have witnessed the Prophet ﷺ raising his hands in the takbir, in going for ruku', and upon rising up from ruku', and in going to the third rak'ah after sitting for the middle tashahhud. So I do that, but the Imam is Hanafi or following the Hanafi madhab, and he only believes raising the hands is required in the very first takbir. So he does not raise his hand. Will I follow him? You follow him in the prayer, but in the ruku' and sujood and so on, raise your hands. Yes, you should raise your hands, and both of your prayers are valid, insha'Allah Azza wa Jal.
Okay, the second question is about the situation of a person who does not pray for his 5 daily prayers. However, he attends the Friday prayer, and he says he believes, he gives charity, and he's a good person in general. Is he still considered to be a Muslim, and if so, are his deeds accepted?
Judging a person of being a good person or not a good person is not an easy thing, especially when somebody does not pray. Even if he is generous and kind to people, he is at risk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated the salah as a fard to be offered on specific times and on regular basis. إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. Postponing a single salah, just mere postponing, not skipping, postponing a single salah from its proper time is a major sin. You can imagine if somebody is extremely generous to people and kind to his employees, and he only prays Jumu'ah, as he said, or he prays every once in a while. So he died between Maghrib and Isha. The very first question will be about his prayer. Have you prayed? No, I have not. Why not? I was busy. I was taking care of other things. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أول ما يسأل عنه العبد يوم القيامة الصلاة فإن صلحت صلح سائر عمله وإن فسدت فسد سائر عمله. The very first question that a believer will be asked on the Day of Judgment is not about his generosity, not about the zakah or fasting in Ramadan. These things would come later. But the very first question will be about the salah. A salah literally means salah, a connection between the servant and his Lord. So if one loses this salah and this tie and this connection, then how good is the fasting or generosity or going for Hajj if he doesn't pray? Allah warned those who do not pray on time in a couple of places in the Quran. في Surah Al-Ma'un, He said, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Woe to those who pray.
SubhanAllah.
But what kind of prayer? الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. They are negligent of their prayers. As he said, they pray occasionally or whenever, when they remember, when they have some spare time, or they only pray Fridays on Eid or only Ramadan, and once Ramadan is over, like Allah is only present in Ramadan. This is false. So this is once. Then once again he said, فَخَلَفَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا. Fallen ones, lost ones in desire, and wasting the prayer, not wasting the prayer by not praying at all, but not praying at all, this is turning to disbelief. The scholar said if one does not pray, he is a kafir. But they wasted the prayer by not praying on time. So we have to be very careful with the prayer, lest one would die before offering the last prayer and he would be questioned about that.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We have our first call of the day, Brother Ahmed from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother Saad. Assalamu alaikum, brother Mohamed Salah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have one question.
Okay. Can you raise your voice a bit, Brother Ahmed?
Yeah, sure. Sheikh, my sister has her driving test tomorrow, inshallah. But a male officer takes the test with a lady officer in the back seat. But they don't allow a male mahram in the car. What should I do in this situation? Could you please answer this question today, because her driving test is tomorrow?
Right now, inshallah.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay, Barakallah Fiqh, Brother Ahmed.
Wa alaikum
We also
salam.
have Brother Hamza from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I wanted to ask a question that my sister, I am in my sister's house. She called us so that we can read the dua, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin, a number of times, not specified, in general, just reading, because they are having problems in their life, to solve their problems. Is there authentic?
Okay.
Okay. Please can you answer today only?
Okay,
Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Brother Hamza there.
Okay.
Okay, can we look at Brother Ahmed's question right
Qatar.
now?
Inshallah. Being present in a car with a couple of people, one of whom is not your male mahram, this is not a khalwa. And it is for a necessary reason, which is, if it is necessary for you to drive, if it is necessary to get, obviously if you have to drive, then you have to get a driver's license. And if it is necessary to get it through this officer, then it is permissible. And try to request, especially said that there will be a female in the car. So as you said that you tried to be in the car, they do not allow that. But I believe you can always request a female officer. In America, for instance, we used to do that. Whenever my wife was going for her driving test or whatever, it was easy to request something like that. So if it is possible, fine. If it is not, then as long as there is another lady and there is no physical contact between this male person and the sister who's driving, then inshallah it is allowed.
Okay, we have Brother Salim from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Assalamu alaikum, brother, and assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum
assalam
assalam
wa
wa
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for all your answers and the programs.
Barakallah
May
Fiqh,
Allah
brother.
grant us all success.
Inshallah. Sheikh, I have a question regarding zakah.
Okay.
Suppose a person has not paid zakah in the past several years, and now he has realized he has to pay the zakah. So on what basis should he start paying right from when he has realized and further on, or should he pay for the past years as well, and on what approximation he should pay?
Okay.
He
Jazakallah
has to
khair.
pay.
Okay.
Brother Salim there.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Brother Hamza from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, he says that his sister, she asked him to go and read the dua, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin, for an unspecified number of times, and he said this is because they're facing problems in the home.
Well, I'm afraid that we're tending to form a new worship. The dua is valid. The Prophet ﷺ has said that it has great virtues to recite such dua, and it can wipe out your sins, it can help you correct. But assembling people for a specific cause, once again, we need to back up this with a proof or a reference. And by the way, if you have such problem, You don't have to gather people to read certain dua or certain verses, certain chapters of the Quran, certain number of times, even without specifying number. Asking the person to pray for you, whether he's at his house or in your house, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, it will help you in solving the problem. So having the assembly at the house which is having the problem does not mean that this is a mean of solving the problem. And we don't have any reference to any practice like that. I understand that some people who belong to certain cultures, who have inherited certain cultural traditions or practices, whenever they are afraid of making bid'ah, so they would tend to alter it and say, okay, we will not stick to a certain number of times, but we will do it this way as well. Forming a regular halqa to read Quran on regular basis, or irregular basis every once in a while, or study the Quran, or quote a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, then making dua is permissible 100%, is a praiseworthy act, and you will be rewarded for that. But I do not know of any sunnah practice that we should gather the people in one's house to make particular dua for him in order to solve his problem. And I seize this opportunity and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve you from your problems and give you an ease after difficulty and hardship and prosperity after adversity. Such dua is better than forming any new form of worship. And I believe that the viewers who are joining me right now have said Ameen as well. So that inshallah will be sufficient. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, next we have on the line Brother Rami from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have a question regarding marriage.
Okay.
As I know that it's permissible for a Muslim guy to get married to a Christian girl. So, you know, when you get married to a Christian girl, suppose, and if we suppose that she is a foreigner, for example, she doesn't obey Islamic orders as she's not a Muslim. So if she didn't wear a veil, for example, am I going to be asked and judged for that from Allah? I mean, like, am I going to have, like, you know, sins as she doesn't obey Islamic orders?
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Rami. Next we have Sister Amina from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Wa alaikum
Wa
assalam.
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have a baby that I'm breastfeeding, and Ramadan is fast approaching. So I don't know whether I need to feed or to fast. I just need a clarification on that, please.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sister Amina from Nigeria. Okay, the next question we have here, Sheikh, is we're told by the Prophet ﷺ to stop any people who is crossing in front of us while we are praying. Is this permissible to do if the people that is crossing are children?
Obviously, because the purpose of putting a sutra or a barrier between you and people in the prayer is in order to gain khushu' in the salah. So anything that leads to distracting your attention is one of the forms of the shaitan's distraction. So whether it's a child or an adult, particularly children, you have to secure the musalla place first, so that when you pray, you will have the salah, which I addressed in the beginning of this episode. Salah, connection between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when kids are playing and crossing right and left, back and forth in front of you, this salah has been interrupted repeatedly, and you're worried about what they do. So please make sure that when you pray, you secure, if it is a baby, you secure him in their baby seat or with the seat belt fastened, so that when you pray, you're not worried what they are doing and whether they are going to injure themselves or fall from a place or. Make sure that when you come to pray, you pray in a condition and in a place which will give you the maximum form of concentration, which we call it khushu'.
Okay, next we have Sister Shafi from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Ameen alaikum salam. I have one question.
Go ahead, please.
If you're in the fashion industry and you live in a secular environment, is it permissible for you to sew things for non-Muslims, even if they're going to be revealing or short?
Okay.
Can you give an example?
That's my question.
Can you give an example? Can you give me an example of items?
Okay, maybe a customer comes to you and wants to sew maybe a mini skirt or sew something with revealing cleavage or something.
Okay, got it. Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sister Shafia there from Nigeria. We also have Sister Huda from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Go ahead, Sister. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I wanted to know, is the marriage between Sunni Muslim and Shia valid?
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Jazakallah khair. Sister Huda there from the UAE. I don't know if the next question is from a male or female, but it says that my father wants me to marry my relative who is not practicing. Am I sinning if I say yes? I'm being forced.
This is the right time to ask this question so that we can join its answer to the answer of Sister
Huda from the UAE.
United Arab Emirates. Yes. Number one, the golden rule in marriage is لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, in order to find repose in your spouses, whether male is marrying a female or vice versa. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. The Prophet ﷺ said a woman may be married for 4 privileges or 4 qualities, and he recommended for the person to shop around and to look for the most important quality, which is the religious commitment. Then he said to the girl and her guardian that إِذَا جَاءَكُم مَّن تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَأَمَانَتَهُ فَزَوْجُوهُ. What we look for most, besides other attractive qualities such as beauty, of being a handsome for the man, a job, a good income, a nice place to live in, and all of that, most important quality is the religious commitment. So not only that, he's got to be Sunni, he's got to be religiously committed. So when the father says, honey, this guy, he is good, but only one thing, that he doesn't pray. But inshallah, you can make him to be a good person and he can still pray. Dad, sorry, no. Is this a sin for disobeying my dad? No, that is not a sin. And luckily, Islam does not allow anyone to force anyone into marriage, marrying any person. Not even the father forcing his daughter to marry anyone. Unlike what people try to spread in the Western media, and those who are constantly stereotyping and bashing Islam and Muslims, where Muslim girls are persecuted, even 1400 years ago, before there was human rights constitution in America or in the West, that the Prophet ﷺ did not approve a marriage where a girl was forced to marry. He said, it's up to you. She said, my father forced me to marry my cousin. He said, no, it's up to you. If you want it, we can undo this marriage if you want to. So it's your word. Before they even recognize any human rights, 1400 years ago or more, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam stated that. So utilize this right to say, no, if your parents or guardian is proposing to you a man who is very rich, or he is the prince, or the son of the prince, or the king, or whatever. And we know what happened with Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib. The Khalifa proposed to his daughter. He said, my son would love to marry your daughter. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, the leader of At-Tabi'een. He refused. And he was very gentle. Then he did not wait for somebody to propose for his daughter who is religious. No, he looked around and he found somebody who was a bachelor, one of his students. He asked him, why don't you get married? He said, I'm broke. He said, so, well, don't worry about it. Would you marry my daughter? Sa'id ibn Musayyib refuses, the Khalifa's son, and he proposes to a very poor person, because he has seen him firsthand. This guy is religiously committed. He's a seeker of knowledge. He's a man of manners. But he's broke. He said, don't worry about this part. This is not my concern. Then they chipped in, and everybody got him some item, a mat, some vessels, utensils. He had nothing. And he brought his daughter up to him, and he gave her to him in marriage. And that was the consent of his daughter as well. They were on the same page. So sister, no, it will not be a sin to say whether it's you, a male or a female. And if it is with a female, then it's more worthy with a male to say, no, I will never marry this girl, or I will not marry this boy. But you know, he has the potential. I hear this a lot. He has the potential. Sheikh, if you can just convince our daughter, this guy is cool. He's really cool. And one day he's going to be something. Like what? He is a big time politician, and he can be a governor. He can be all of that worth nothing if he doesn't pray. Or if he prays, but he's working in a job where he's earning unlawfully. But he promises to look for another job, not before he has a lawful income.
SubhanAllah.
The women of our predecessors, they used to have this tradition. She would stop her husband while he was leaving to work. They did not have those fixed jobs, but rather they work hand to mouth. And she would tell him, Ya Abdullah, O servant of Allah, my beloved husband, fear Allah in your earning. Make sure that you do not feed us from haram.
SubhanAllah.
Because we can definitely be patient for hunger and thirst. But there is no way that we can endure the fire of hell. So this is the kind of spouse whom we're looking for. Now, I would like to join with this answer, the answer for a question of Brother Rami, when he said that Islam allows a Muslim man to marry a Christian woman. True or false? This is half the truth, because Islam does not say it is permissible for a Muslim man to marry a Christian woman or a Jewish woman. It doesn't say that.
SubhanAllah.
It doesn't. Well, in the Quran says, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. Thank you so much. Let's review the verse again. What does it say? وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ. So why do you skip the word al-muhsanat? Isn't it stated? Isn't it a condition? Muhsanat, the chaste women of the people of the book. When you hook up with a girl who's coming to visit your country as a tourist, and she just broke up with her boyfriend, and you know a boyfriend means that she was sleeping with him because it was normal, right? So they think it's lawful. It's unlawful in any religion. It's unlawful in Christianity particularly. But they say it's okay. So that maybe she broke up with her boyfriend, or she met another person and she slept with him just last week. Is it okay for me to marry her? Absolutely not. But she's a church-going girl, and she's what? She did not fulfill the condition of al-ihsan. Al-ihsan. A young man brought a woman to me last Ramadan when I was in the States, and he said, Sheikh, he's a Muslim and she's Christian, and he said that we want to marry. So my typical question is said, I wanted to verify in a nice way, in a modest way, whether she had a relationship before or not. I said, sister, have you been in a relationship with anyone prior to that? She said, at least a year. I did not have any relationship, and I'm going straight, and. So I said, okay, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah, and we started talking about Islamic etiquette of getting married. Then I realized that she meant she has not been in a relationship with anyone other than him. Other than this Muslim guy. So we have to understand that it is not about, okay, we repented, we want to get married right now. Chastity is not a word of mouth. It's a practice. It's a lifestyle. Right? أن يا أخي تخيروا لنطفكم فإن العرق دساس. The statement of Umar ibn Khattab. You gotta know where you're gonna plant your seed. Sow your seeds. It's not in any soil. It is not in any dirt. Because the same fruits, it would taste different if it was planted in the soil versus in another soil, irrigated with pure water or sewage or. So one have to think about it this way. I'm not just looking beneath my feet. I'm not a grass eater. Grass eaters, they just want to eat. They're looking for the moment. So Rami, what we look for is the far future. You're looking for a company, a one who would accompany you all the way to heaven. You're looking for somebody who will be your wife in heaven, inshaAllah Azza Jal. And in this life, you're looking for a modest mother of your children.
SubhanAllah.
You know what it means? A woman whom, in case, I would say, not you, Rami, I would say me. In case if I'm married to this woman today, then after she got pregnant and she have a child, I died. What will happen to my children? Well, she has to pack up and go back to her country. And what will be the faith and practice of my children? Well, we didn't know. We cannot say that they're going to be Muslims. And nor can we say that my daughter will be wearing hijab and she will go to the masjid and she will study Quran if the mother is not a Muslim. And if she would have a stepfather who is a drunk or alcoholic or child molesting person or whatever. So think about it with wisdom. Yeah, but Sheikh, she has the potential of becoming a Muslim. Insha'Allah, when she becomes a practicing Muslim. And when this Muslim girl, whom you like so much because she's tall, she's slim, she's fair-skinned, she has blue eyes, she's educated, she speaks multilingual languages or whatever, these are all good qualities. But the most important thing is she is religiously committed? Does she know how to pray? Does she know the ahkam of educating her daughters later on about women issues? Does she know how to communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, halal and haram and all of that? Well, I'm going to teach her. Then you're taking the risk. It may not work. For me, I say a statement in Arabic that I was taught and I have learned from my teacher, whom I'm very, very proud of. He says, Muhammad, as-salamatu la ya'diluha shay'a. It is always best to be in the safe side. Why take a chance? Don't take chances, especially when it comes to marriage. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor, for that comprehensive answer. We have Brother Muhammad from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Brother Muhammad, are you with us? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. You're very patient, Muhammad. Thank you for your patience.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Brother Muhammad, please. Okay, I think we lost Brother Muhammad. We also have Sister Noor from Syria. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
I
alaikum
hope that I am also patient.
Thank you so much for your patience. They told me 10 minutes.
I have a question, please.
May Allah pay you more than what you paid.
Ameen. Ameen.
Yes, pray for me.
Inshallah.
Okay, go ahead, Sister Noor.
It's very important question for me. Please take it with attention. Is sexual relation between husband and wife considered as fornication or haram for Muslim woman if her husband didn't pray 5 salah?
Okay.
And if yes, please give me proof that it is haram.
Okay.
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 Maybe some sheikh, ulama said about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair,
Sister, do we have somebody on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
We also have Brother Abdul Hakim. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Go ahead, please, brother.
Okay, my question is about Al-Dajjal.
Okay.
I have a question about his origin because I read on the internet he may have come from Prophet Adam alayhi salam when Prophet Adam had a wet dream. Or he had a mother and father. I read that on the internet as well, and so I'm very confused. I'd just like for you to clarify his origin, please.
Who is the Prophet? Prophet Job you're talking about?
Sorry, the Prophet is Prophet Adam alayhi salam. And I'm wondering about Al-Dajjal.
No, hold on. Abdul Hakim.
Yes.
Rewind the tape. Again, you were asking about who was born and he had 2 parents and who's the son of Prophet Jacob. What was the question again?
Okay, sorry. I read on the internet that Al-Dajjal had 2 parents.
Ad-Dajjal.
Yes.
Okay.
But I also read on the internet that he may have come from Prophet Adam alayhi salam when Prophet Adam alayhi salam had a wet dream.
Akhi, stop reading those websites or even browsing on those websites, okay?
Okay.
If you want to know about Ad-Dajjal or the false Messiah, there is a whole chapter. You can find it in the book of Bukhari, the book of Muslim. You have the sound, a collection of the ahadith concerning the false Messiah. There is no prophet before Muhammad, but have warned his people against them. He is known to all the prophets. And this person, the false Messiah, who would come by the end of time as one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, all his traits have been explained in details by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Does he exist now? He does exist, yes. And whether his origin and he had 2 parents or not, since we were not told, how can we say that Prophet whatever had a dream and this is no, this is totally false. And please, thank you for giving us this hint. Before knocking on any door of any website, we have to understand whether this website is authentic or not. Don't say, I'm just browsing. At least now we have some false informations, and I'm not sure whether you have communicated those with somebody else or not, even in the format of a question. Somebody else hears it from you and he transfers it or transmits it to others, and so on. We have to be very careful with what we say and what we read. So whatever you said has no essence and it is not true.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We'll take a short break here on Ask Huda, and we'll be back right after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Closing the Gap.
Why closing the gap?
In this program, Sheikh Yusuf Estes and Omar Dunlap are going to discuss how to bridge the gap between peoples of different cultures and orientations, the gap between males and females, Muslims and non-Muslims, the East and the West.
Human beings feel like that they're being slighted one way or the other. The gap between the youth and the elders, the gap between various status in the work field and education, and then trying to provide solutions for these particular problems.
All of this and more in Closing the Gap, soon in Ramadan on Huda TV. Amazing stories. In this program, we get to know about people of the past whose stories were mentioned in the Islamic tradition and related by the Prophet, peace be upon him.
That verily us, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we tell you about the best of the stories. We tell you about the best of the stories. When we narrate a story, when we read a story, when we try to benefit from a story, what we are trying to do in reality is to go back through the steps, through the different parts and sections of this story until the story is actually completed, and that we can take the actual benefit directly from the story.
Sheikh Lutfi will narrate these stories in his program Amazing Stories.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered one of the lands to come closer, the destination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered one whole city to come closer, to move closer to this dead person.
Amazing Stories, soon in Ramadan on Huda TV. Women around the Prophet. What do you know about women in Islam? Do you know the role that women played in Islamic history? Sheikh Ismail Rafai will relate the stories of the Prophet's wives in the program, Women Around the Prophet.
Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him, the person he decided that this Quran should stay with and be left with was none other than our mother Hafsa bint al-Khattab. So this whole Quran was left with her. This is a great trust. Khadija bint Khuwaylid. She is afqah nisa'il ummah. She's the most knowledgeable of this ummah, because she is my mother, your mother, and the mother of all the believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Women Around the Prophet, coming soon on Huda TV in Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's good to have you back. You're watching Ask Huda. Just a quick reminder of our telephone numbers, 00-202-38555, 248 or 249. Or you can write to us at ask@huda.tv. Okay, very deep question from Sister Noor from Syria. She wants to know if the sexual relationship between a wife and a husband, and the husband doesn't pray his 5 daily prayers, is this considered to be fornication?
Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa mustafah thumma amma ba'd. In order to answer this question, we have to understand the ruling of Islam on a person who does not pray. The scholars differentiated between a person who does not pray because he does not believe in the prayer and its importance, and he says, I don't think we should pray 5 times a day. Praying is by the heart, etc. So such person is a disbeliever, is not a Muslim. And in this condition, in an Islamic society, the court would separate between this person and his family who are practicing Islam and believe in Islamic articles of faith and pillars of the deen. But what if the person believes in the prayer and he used to pray and he interrupted his prayer and he believes that I should be praying but he is lazy? Such person should be continuously advised until he prays on regular basis. But if he's negligent of the prayer, no matter what we say, then he's insisting on not praying, then it is her right to ask for separation, because she's living with a person who does not respect Allah, nor does he love him. He does not appreciate the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he belongs to a deen whom he's not working for it. He's not doing his homework. But nobody said that simply if he is not praying, that your relationship would be, together will be illegitimate, and this person or sexual contact will be considered as fornication. That would not be judged before being informed. This person does not pray, does not believe in the prayer, and he is ruled as an apostate or a murtad or a non-believer. So in this condition, this woman would be ordered to separate away from him and to leave him alone. But before that, your life and your relationship, because when you summarize marriage in the form of sexual relations, this is just a way of expressing your frustration. But it is not only about the sexual relations. Let me give you an example. If somebody divorced his wife 3 times, so the 3rd time is irreversible.
Yes.
This is called ba'in, that she's not allowed to live with him in the same house. But they have a bunch of kids. Is it okay for them to live together in the same house? But when it comes to bed, they don't share bed. They don't have sexual intercourse. Is that okay? Obviously not. So they are still in a state of marriage according to their action or practice, while they should be totally separated. She is a strange woman for him after he divorced her 3 times, the irreversible or irrevocable divorce. So in this condition, that's similar to if the person is judged as a kafir, then it is not permissible for you to stay with him in the same house, whether you're having an intimate relationship or not. So that was your way of expressing your frustration and asking a very specific question. That person has to be confronted with local authorities or your family members, your representative, or the shiukh. Perhaps not confronted, because some people would take it personal, but approach him first with the advice, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana." Then the 3rd stage is al-mujadala, wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. Argue with him with one which is best. Why don't you pray? Don't you think that the prayer is important? Don't you think that the prayer is the most important act of worship? Don't you think that Allah ordered us to pray and we have to obey Him, etc.? If he says all of that, I don't buy it, then thank you so much, you're out of the picture. You are a kafir, and it's not permissible for this woman to live with him. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Brother Riyadh from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Riyadh.
Yeah. My question is regarding working in an insurance company.
Working in
an insurance company.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a job offer from an insurance company which claims to follow takaful.
Okay.
I want to know if it is halal or haram for me to work and earn money in that company.
Okay.
I will be working in IT department, and I would be grateful if you can also tell me whether what are all the criteria I should look for in an insurance company to determine whether it is halal or haram.
Riyadh, I'm sorry, because I may have misheard you, whether you said internet or interest company.
Insurance company.
Insurance company, okay.
Yeah. We also have Brother Ahmed from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Brother Ahmed, you with us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Go ahead, Ahmed. Go ahead with your question, please, Ahmed. Oh, I think
Can we finish the whole Quran what? What we get?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Ahmed. Ahmed there from the UAE. Brother Salim from the UAE, he said, someone didn't pay zakah for several years, and then he realized that he was wrong and he wants to make repentance. But what should he do with regards to the zakah of the previous year? Should he start paying from now, or should he consider the previous
In order to answer this question, I want to ask you another question. What if you borrowed from me some amount of money? Then next year you were not able to pay on time, so you asked me for another loan, so I gave you. Then another loan, then I gave you. 10 years you've been borrowing, and finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you some money. Would that be a drop because now we're separated, we have no means of communication, and you owe me the payments of several years? Would that be considered as deleted because in the past you were alcoholic and you were not practicing it? No, you owe me this money. And you're broke. Now you have the money, you have to pay me.
Yes.
So it is accumulative. The zakah, brothers and sisters, is the ultimate right of the poor. Not just haqqullah, or the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, haqqul faqir. That's why we gotta make sure once the zakah is due that we hand it over to those who are eligible for it, the faqir. And that's why it's not permissible to say, I'm going to keep it with me for 6 months, for a year, to invest it for the poor. No, thank you so much. That is the right of the poor. They need it immediately, and it should be dispensed immediately once it is due. So what about somebody who is negligent of paying the zakah, whether he did not know, whether he knew and he was negligent, and now, alhamdulillah wa shukla, he came back to his religious commitment, and he's inquiring about the past. You should estimate as for how many years that you are not paying your zakah. And if you keep the books for each year, how much was your position and profit and all of that, then you should estimate how much the zakah due on every annual lunar year. And pay the zakah once you have that money, you gotta pay it immediately for all the past years which you have not paid the zakah.
Okay, Sister Amina from Nigeria, she says that she's breastfeeding her baby at the moment. She wants to know if she should fast for Ramadan.
That depends on your ability, because there are many women who are, alhamdulillah, pregnant or breastfeeding fast, and they go to work. So in this condition, you should fast. So not fasting, or the permit, the rukhsah, for skipping fasting for a pregnant or breastfeeding woman is only whenever they are not able to, or it would harm them, deteriorate their health, or it would affect their breastfeeding process. But if everything is regular, then you should fast.
Okay, from Sister Shafia from Nigeria as well. She says if she's part of the fashion industry, and she says it's a secular industry in Nigeria, but she wants to know if it's okay if she makes clothes for non-Muslim women that is short and body revealing.
We've got the answer to this question and every similar question in one beautiful verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter number 6. The verse says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ, which means, and help one another to achieve righteousness and piety, but help not one another to do anything that is sinning, evil, or disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I guess the answer to the sister's question, that if a woman is a fashion designer and she makes some short dresses for women who 100% they're gonna walk around showing their thighs, their knees, and their bodies and their flesh. I'm a part of that.
SubhanAllah.
Okay? The brother who's talked about working in a bank or an insurance company, the verse answers his question and every similar question. You're playing a part in taking a role in functioning this company, which we know that it is working in haram. So you should not be assisting them by any means. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, taking the brother question, Brother Riyad from Qatar. He says he's been offered a job in the insurance company, and the insurance company claims to follow the Islamic criteria. He says he's part of the would be part of the IT department. He wants to know
if it follows the Islamic rules, then there is no problem. But what determines that? You read the paper, you read their books, you read the way of their dealings with others, because commercial insurance is haram in Islam. Commercial insurance is haram in Islam. It's based on interest-based. It's based on gambling. The whole process is gambling. Somebody pays for an insurance, whether life insurance or automobile insurance or home insurance, then God forbid the person dies. Next day after he paid the first payment, so he paid maybe $10, and his family would claim $1 million. Well, that was the policy. My question is, on what basis that you consider this money as lawful, or you're earning? It was like buying a lotto ticket. It may not win. In addition to this, money is invested definitely in an interest-based accounts and so on. So it's a long process, but I'm just summarizing what the fiqh councils have concluded based on the process and the mechanism of insurance itself. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor, and Jazakallah khair for your time here today on Ask Huda. And to all the viewers who have called in, we would like to say a special thank you to you. And if you have any other questions, you can write to us at that's ask@huda.tv. And don't forget, you can support the program during Ramadan and all other programs just writing to us at support@huda.tv. And don't forget our website, www.huda.tv. Until next time, I leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If my love is attached to thee, then from sins I will be free. Each time my heart will beat, your name will resound with heat. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.